Hi, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
To see you. Give everyone a few.
Buddy.
Hey, Bruce. Give everyone a moment. Looks like we're having some more people come in.
I'm
And we're
popping it.
missing. Go ahead, Bruce. Were you going to say something?
Just all I said was to myself was we got a lot more popping in.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some of our regulars that unfortunately are not able to make it too. We have one teaching the M100 and some having their holiday parties too. So I know it's a busy time for all of the chapters and and you all in your personal and work lives as well. So thanks for joining us. If you would, as always, change your chapter, rename yourself to include your chapter name. That would be awesome. That way we have a lot of people that like to reach out and follow up afterwards. So that would be great. Today, we'd like to start out, since we're at the end of the year, talking about how you celebrate and thank your staff. So whether this is something that hopefully you do year round, so small things kind of year round, or if you do anything here at the end of the year, we'd love to hear what you all have been doing. Did anyone do anything special this year for your staff, your chapter executive director, or anything? Sarah, go ahead.
I'll jump on.
Thank you.
I know both chapters do stuff for the executive directors. For Central Oregon, I can speak to that. As president, we have a holiday bonus in there for our executive director, and we give her that on her December paycheck. I will say that there was, just as something to watch out for boards, there was a year when I came on as president-elect or president in 2024. The prior president had not authorized to give her holiday bonus, and she didn't get it until like 5 months later. And it just like it was there was just so much missed. And so it I just be mindful of it. Like we're really mindful now of it to make sure it gets done in the month because we want to appreciate our employee and not have, them think that like they're, not appreciated or anything like that. So yeah, that's what we do.
That's really important. Thanks for mentioning that, Sarah. I've worked with newer chapter executive directors, like when they've had a lot of turnover on their board or something like that. And, it's something that's happened in the past and they're afraid to ask. And I say, hey, these volunteers, they have, they're busy in their work. And sometimes I don't think that it doesn't happen on purpose, so say something, so that can be a little bit awkward for them, but I have encouraged them to speak up as well. So thanks for mentioning that, Sarah. It is important to kind of keep that running, and making sure that information is passed along to the next leaders. Anyone else, have you done something special to thank your CED or your staff throughout the year? Things that you might think are small but super important, or anything big? Jim?
Could jump in. It's my last hurrah, and I'm going to jump on the hour. But yeah, our director, we've typically given a bonus to these last couple of years. I think last year he won. Well, I did last year he won CE of the year, so we gave him a bonus for that. This year we gave our assistant. I don't know what her exact title is, but she's basically the one that runs everything else. We gave her a bonus because we just switched to the new website, and I also gave her present support this year at the gala. And our other staff is a part-time hourly, and all three of them are 1099, employees.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Jim. For those of you who are giving bonuses, is it based on, certain metrics that you're doing that, or is it just a lump sum that you always give around the holidays? How are you determining that? Drew? Hey,
Yeah.
Drew.
Hey, well, we revamped ours this year, so it's now a performance-based bonus. We look at different metrics like membership growth, financial health, net results and financial growth, gross results, how much we bring in for our chapter investor program.
That's
So
great.
Yeah. I will jump in here too. Through the strategic planning that we've done with a lot of the chapters that I've worked with this past year, have really looked at that performance-based scale and setting standards so it can be very transparent in a way. Like here's our base expectation, and then jumping onto that, hey, if you reach these goals by an additional, 5% or these other standards, we're looking at a different scale for you, and really knowing the goals that they can meet to be at different bonus level structures, based on being able to hit those performances. And one of the things that we've talked about when the boards are trying to set those is making sure that it's a realistic goal that your CED is participating in. If it's not a role that your CED has control over, it might not be the best to be able to set that goal to them because they're not involved in that. And so just being aware of that. Like, so for example, I know one was talking about event attendance, and I know that's very hard to have a CED really engaged and getting some of those bodies in the room. There's a lot of other factors that factor into that. And so what that looks like and what that expectation is, and is it something that they can obtain and have some control over versus not. So just make sure that you're looking at both their roles and responsibilities if you're setting some of those metrics. For example, some of our smaller chapters, the executive director isn't involved in the sponsorship sales. That's more on the board and committee members to really sell those sponsorships. So that probably shouldn't be linked to their bonus structure because they're not controlling that aspect of it. So again, just kind of making sure you're reviewing those before you're setting those standards, and being very transparent with them, I think is also really important too. So they know what the minimum standard is that you're trying to get them to accomplish.
Yeah, and making sure it's measurable too, of course, is
Yep.
important. Make sure that, that you can show why you gave them this bonus. Della,
Emily,
you came off. Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I haven't heard our chapter talk about a bonus for our previous executive. So I don't know if we did or not, or maybe it was just built into his December pay. I'm going to ask when this meeting's over, some people. But how about this situation for us? We've gone through some trials and tribulations and kind of rebuilding things. And our new executive director, Holly, is enthusiastic, and I mean it's amazing. I told her the other day I'm having a hard time keeping up with her because she's doing so much. She sent me an email the other day at 2 a.m. because she thought of something. I feel like we should acknowledge. My question is, what does everybody think or suggest? I think we need to do something to acknowledge her. Obviously not a big bonus like if she'd been doing this for a whole year, but we do need to do something, I think. So, and I hadn't thought about it until, this conversation. So I'm open to suggestions.
Does anyone have any? How long has she been there, Bruce? I mean, I agree. She is just rocking and rolling. How
Yes.
long? I know she started kind of in the spring, right? Is it the
Yeah,
spring?
I want to say 6 months. I'd have to,
Yeah.
double 5, 6, 7 months, obviously in that
Mhm.
range.
Yeah. Does anyone have any suggestions for Bruce on that?
Tell her not to email you at 2 a.m. because that scares the hell out of me. It's burnout risk. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I'm a big proponent of work-life balance. But yeah,
A good example.
I think you should acknowledge her, but also
Yeah.
tell her, hey, you have the right to not be working at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Might
you're
be a good.
you're saying encourage her to have the work-life
We're running a
balance.
chapter here, not the Pentagon. This is
Yeah.
why I left the management side, because board members, not all of them, because I know some of them are here, but they can run out managers. We hate to see a losing director because that's just how.
Yeah. Jim, we're having a little bit hard time hearing you. I
Oh,
don't know if it's just me. So I can hear parts of it, but it's kind of coming in and out. Bruce, you were going to give an example, I think.
An example, Holly, I'd complained, commented, we didn't have any single piece of literature to hand somebody that told them all about our chapter and why they ought to be, a sales piece. They ought to be a member. A week later, Holly puts a draft of one on my desk. How about this? And it was really well done, and we made a few edits. And the next luncheon, everybody had one on their place, and told them to take it home and use it when you talk to prospects. And we've been using it. We were at a function last night, and we had a little display table, and we were handing out that brochure. So my point, she gets stuff done.
I love that.
Um,
Sarah, you had come off mute
yeah,
too.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you should acknowledge her. I would start in the budget, see if there was a line item for your previous holiday, or if there was, yeah, anything allocated there. And if it wasn't, I mean, this could be kind of maybe something you already had put into the budget that you could use. But if not, I definitely think you should probably do something, some sort of gift card or acknowledgement. I also like to just play for somebody that's mind that works all the time, when we run, like sometimes the ideas just form, and sometimes you just need to throw that out into the world so that you don't forget. I mean, the amount of ideas that I have for CAI is just like unreal. And Laura knows it, and Heather knows it. It just happens. And so, I just like to always say the personality there is also just unique, and that, yes, I love the work-life balance. I need to take that advice too, but sometimes our minds just are constantly running. So
That's a
just,
great
I
point.
love the creativity too. So I don't know. I just sometimes when people tell me like slow down or don't do that, it's like, I don't know. I take that also the wrong way because it's like, that's who I am. So just be mindful of that.
Point. Randy, you have your hand up?
Okay, thank you. Just make hopefully I'm gonna Bruce reply to you correctly because you're asking about bonuses for the CED and what you've done. We recently, our chapter in Illinois, just did our review of our CED. And if I can help out with anything, since I'm somewhat new, one is reminding our CED and our board that this is not a simple HOA. We are a major chapter out of 64, and we're running an amazing business entity. And to change that old school mindset of just HOA. And if we're going to show grace to people, show it to ourselves and those who work hard for us and be kind to each other and also be transparent. That being said, what I asked our CED to do was a year in review. And I was like, let's look at this calendar. And when you actually see the metrics and the full volume of all that they're involved with and attend, it can change your mindset. I had our treasurer map out where we were over or under. I was like, here's what our typical bonus would look like year to year from the past group. Let's shake it up. Just because he did it doesn't mean we can't do something more. So when we look at our projections and what we had, also thinking about 2026 goals and initiatives to keep some in the coffers, I realized we have a bit more to say thank you. And not only to you, but to the team. So I would just encourage you to look at it holistically and just say, what did we achieve? And when we were doing our bonus, I was like, this is 2025, this board's opinion for you. Future boards will make a decision based on specific metrics. But we're so attuned to saying, show grace and build community. Make sure that we're doing it within.
That's great. Well, I love that, Randy. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Well, and to
Natalie?
that point,
Oh,
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead, Alonda.
I just had a question for everyone. Harmon, because Sarah had put in the chat about building it in the budget, which I agree. How would you build it in the budget? Just what Randy was sharing, if you're doing the measuring and monitoring how the chapter has grown, or what has you've collected when it comes to sponsorship and things like that. What are you all using as parameters to actually measure the performance and then say we'll give X amount of dollars at the end of the year?
I mean, we're just budgeting in I mean, how I think that one should do it is budgeting in what the most you're going to give to that person. I mean, for us, our directors, they work their butts off every year. Like we don't ever have to not give them less. Like, I mean, they're amazing. So we just make sure the budget has a worst case scenario. And if they don't meet those, then maybe you do less. But that's how I would do it.
So
I
what are you
agree.
using to have the requirements of this is what we're giving as a bonus?
Oh, we do have metrics. So we have a review every year.
Okay.
The holiday bonus isn't really based on the metrics as much as then the annual review. So we don't really do the holiday bonus as a metric item. We do it as a grateful thankfulness item.
A
Like thank you for
thankfulness.
being,
Okay.
yeah, thank you for being a part of our chapter and helping us. And then we do the review and everything totally separate. And she has even more, or they have more to grow on that too. So
Could you please share, if you don't mind, what those metrics are? Either send it in the chat or to Emily so she can
yeah.
share it with us, because that would be excellent to give us,
Mhm.
it would give me more guidance. And I think it also would be great for the board to also see that.
Yeah, I can send you what we do for the review for sure.
Drew, I
Awesome.
think
Thank you
you
so much.
mentioned, Drew, I think you mentioned you had some as well, some metrics that you guys are working off of.
We did, and I'll get to those. I also want to clarify, the bulk of that budget, that bonus is really based on the annual review, as far as membership growth, financial growth, and financial strength. We do I think it's $3,500. That basically we authorize our executive director to divvy up however he sees fit between himself and the other employees of the office as just kind of a holiday thank you for everybody's efforts.
That's great. So it sounds like many of you are doing two separate things, maybe a holiday end of year bonus, and then maybe a bonus connected with performance or certain metrics as well.
Yep.
And I will
Thanks.
say
Nat?
I've seen some chapters just kind of feeding on that for a second. That they look at that bonus during the review. So if they were hired in May, that's when they're doing that yearly review and looking at that bonus related to that performance at that year. So again, take a look at when your CED was hired, when it makes sense to do that yearly review. It might not be at the end of the calendar year, and it might make sense to be at the calendar year, but I think it's just making sure that everyone's on the same page of when that's happening, what that's going with. And I'll also share a lot of it stems back to, I think, the roles and responsibilities you have for your CED of setting those metrics. So if, membership and being realistic, I had someone reach out and say, we want to set a goal at 30% growth for them to meet to be able to get the bonus. And if you look at your growth percentage, that's very, very difficult to reach. I think I've only seen maybe one chapter ever hit that. So that wouldn't be a realistic goal to set for your CED. Make sure that you're looking at the past data and that you're able to set something very realistic or connected to your strategic goals that you have for the year.
And speaking that Kelly, Lawrence on our team does a great dashboard every month that hopefully you're seeing as presidents and president-elects that shows the growth of the membership growth of the chapter. And it has the growth percentage for the past 5 years or something like that. So be sure that you look at that. That would be a great tool if you're basing some of that on growth or retention, that you can use those numbers there. Natalie, you've been waiting patiently. You have your hand up.
Yeah. We are kind of a small chapter. We did just move to medium though. And so I actually haven't heard of us ever doing this, but I think it's a really good idea. So I kind of missed the first couple minutes. Can all chapters put this in their budget? Like anyone can do this?
Yes, absolutely. We
Okay.
would encourage any chapter to add this piece to their budget.
Okay. And then like obviously we don't have any metrics right now or anything like that, but that is something we can work on. But we did get like a retention award this year and the growth from small to medium. So I think that would be something really nice to do for her.
Natalie,
Okay.
something I've seen is more percentage of salary based.
Okay.
And so that might be something to look at anywhere ranging from, a 3 to a 10% based on, performance or metrics or breaking that down so that as time changes and salary changes or additional staff or, all of the different things in life that takes place, that you've got something to point back to instead of a certain dollar amount. So that might be something to look at too, is to say, okay, her salary is X dollar amount. This year, we're going to budget for a maximum of a 10%. But then when you actually look at it, maybe it's only a 3% or a 5% of what their salary is.
The dashboard, I heard about that quite a while ago on this on one of these calls, and I actually have not seen it. So I did ask about it, but can we get a login for it, or is that just the CED?
I think so that is one that we share. We have a Dropbox that we share with our CEDs that goes along with the chapter report, chapter end of month reports. So I would definitely recommend getting with your CED and maybe working out a system where they send it to you maybe around the 10th or so of the month or right when it's released, because usually it's around the 7th, usually, Lawrence, that you get those complete once end of month is over. So yeah, we don't have it set up for President-elect access right now. I do think it's a good kind of relationship and reporting tool, kind of builds that relationship between the president. Lawrence can certainly send it to you now so you can see the updated one, but I would definitely talk with your chapter executive director and work out a process of sharing that information.
Okay.
And I think that's a great report to share with your boards, that if it's not in your board packets or something that's being shared on a regular basis, I would recommend having that get added in to your board packets, because I think it's a very transparent way for everyone to have the same data to see, what's working with, if there's any struggles and things like that. So I would put that recommendation out there too, to have that to start to be included in that packet for you.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions. Never feel bad about asking them. This is your space to do so. So that's great. Anyone else have any other input on celebrating and thanking your chapter executive directors and staff? Della, you were off mute for a little bit. Were you wanting to add to the conversation? I didn't want to leave you out. Okay.
I mean, I think everybody else has said what I was going to say, is that we do the bonus as well, and we make sure that it's paid the 1st of December so that, she could use it for December. And, ours has been pretty rock star. I mean, we went from the medium to large, and we've just had a lot going on in Missouri. But yeah, I think they do a bonus every year.
Great.
I have a question, because I'm not sure what the answer is to it. Is how do you handle this as a budget line item if it's not something that you're being upfront about with your CED for? Like, if you want to have that line item in there, do you put bonus on the line item, or how do you address
It's a
that
great
so it's not
question.
necessarily out there?
Yeah, I think that's might be
I was
what you were
thinking the
kind of
same
getting
thing.
to, Alonda. Yeah. Anyone have any? That's a great
I'll have to
question.
go pull my budget to see what it says, but we are not secretive with her on that. She sees it in there, but I'll take a look at our budget and say what it says.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
would think it would be okay, as Sarah suggested earlier, to put the most, that you would give, and then just be very clear about what the expectations are. Randy?
You just said it. For one person on the team, there's a few when we're doing our reviews. It was, we're going to budget over what we think you can meet, the metric that you can meet. You have every opportunity to achieve this amount. You'll be paid X. This is your goal with our bonus. So it's more of a sliding scale, and the CED knows we're hoping by Q2, Q3, they will be here. If not, they're here. This is fair. but you have every opportunity to win and succeed. How can we help you get there? So it's also as a motivator. So we increase what is fair, reasonable, they're happy. A little bit more, it's in the budget, every chance to win. When it comes to our performance and opportunities, though, I have said, let's look at our year end. So there's a holiday bonus. No, our year end will be that sliding scale of, did you go above and beyond? We might have a little bit of extra wiggle room. And we really want to say thank you for what you've helped us all achieve. Because you represent not only the organization, but every board member and every person that's part of this. So I want to see the engagement. We all want to see it. And we encourage it.
Yeah. Great. If you all aren't doing this yet, again, I think we're talking about kind of two different things, the holiday end of year bonus and then like a performance bonus based off of a review. If you aren't doing either one of those things, this is a great time to look at it. One of the new requirements for recertification for 2026 will be that you do a review, that the board does a review with their chapter executive director. We don't want to see it. We don't want to see the results or what was discussed, but you will check a box in chapter recertification, or the chapter executive director will when they submit that a review has been done. As you guys are all saying, it is so important to do that, to not only recognize the efforts that are being done, but be able to find ways that everyone can improve. I know as a chapter executive director, when I was chapter executive director before, I would beg for a review because I wanted to know what they saw that I should keep doing, and then other things that they saw that maybe I could improve on. So that will be a requirement in 2026. So on the recertification that will be due January 31st, 2027, that's where the checkbox will be that you all have done that. I think we mentioned last time that there are sample review tools on our chapter leader toolkit. So you can, find them there for a starting point. Anything else on this topic? All right. Anything else that you all came and wanted to discuss today? Questions for your fellow chapter leaders, or anything that you're having challenges with that you'd like to bring up? Or successes, we like those too.
Emily, this is minor. Next year's board, I need to give them a heads up on selecting president-elect. When does the training start for next year's generation of presidents?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So after the beginning of the year, usually January, February meetings are when people are appointing their president-elect. Would we collect all of those? So by the end of February, we will be sending out a welcome email to the new president-elects with our on-demand videos that they can watch. So they'll start that. And then at the June conference in Fort Lauderdale is when we will do the in-person chapter leadership training. So February-ish is when they'll be able to begin watching those videos. June will be the training in person. And then after conference, we will also add those president-elects to this meeting. So at the beginning of the year, it'll just be the chapter presidents, and then we'll add them in. But that is actually one of the questions that we wanted to ask you all is there anything that we could do to better support you as chapter leaders coming in, or any tools that you wish you had? We wanted to ask you all that.
I would raise my hand, Emily, but I do have a question for the group. And our
Sure.
CED is already doing research for me. My question to the group at large and to others, well, to the group at large, I would like to reevaluate our personnel handbook. And I have a strong belief, as I've shared with the board and with Cheryl, and I encourage everyone, my style is let's talk about each other and how we both work. Because my style might not be your predecessor. I'm much more of a I need a spreadsheet, very direct. Hit me with the hot spots, and then we can have frivolity afterwards. So she's like, cool. I was like, okay, talent's attracted to talent. If we're going to attract new people, if we want to maintain our people, I would like to know, where do we have blind spots within our personnel handbook, our employee handbook, if any? Let's talk about it. Let's be transparent, put it out there and see what works, and make sure that we are a strong organization and we're attracting the right people and it's attractive that you want to stay. So I asked that she speak to other chapters to see what it looks like. And also, because we're most of us are all involved in different things, it's like, let's talk to other not-for-profit organizations that we know of, see what they have. And we'll put something together and we'll have open discussion. Maybe we need a task force. That being said, is there something, have you all looked at your employee handbooks and have you found anything that you've said, this might be something to think about or change or consider?
Great question. Has anyone gone through that process? It's an important one because you said something that stands out to me, Randy, is we want to attract and keep the best talent, and so it is really important that we make sure, that the things that we're offering and that employee handbook is done really well. I know many of your chapters that are small chapters, you're like, employee handbook, what? Just for some context, Randy's chapter is a larger chapter. And I certainly for any size chapter, I would recommend you have something.
Yeah.
Has anyone gone through?
I will say, Randy, Cheryl has reached out. I know there was a couple gaps specifically. We found some industry standards outside of just, again, CAI. So I'm glad to hear that you're coming at this from that dual perspective too, that it's an initiative that you're giving her space to create it, and that also that you guys are looking into it too. So just want to acknowledge that piece as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, it was brought
We're excited.
to all of the chapter executive directors. We also
Oh,
have some
you did?
resources from SHRM. We also have some resources through SHRM that we have. And the great thing is we pay for a membership for all of your chapter executive directors for ASAE, the American Society for Association Executives. And Randy, like you mentioned, those are the groups that we can also reach out to and see what they're doing. So.
Great.
All right. Any other questions or anything that you can think of that we could help you with or help your future chapter leaders with? Bruce?
I just like that there was a 3-page document you provided us, all of everything you need to know about CAI. I forget what it was called, but I found it so informative. I gave a copy to Holly and said, please share with all the board members. It'll help them all be better board members to help understand all of this. Because there was some insight there that I didn't know. And I'm sure that was true of some of the others.
That's great. We will continue to give that then.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found benefit in it.
Yep.
And one initiative we do want to start in 2026 is being more transparent with your full boards and everything. So in the spring, a part of recertification is the submission of who your board members are. So in the spring, we do want to send a full communication out to your boards with some information, making them know that they also have access to us if there's anything that they need to talk about and share as well. So if there is anything that you notice that, like you brought up, Bruce, like this would be great for our whole board to be able to see or be a part of, please let us know. So that, again, if we're doing that type of communication and we're still kind of trying to figure out timeline and what makes the most sense to that, please let us know so that we can include that into those communications to the board. We also do a year-end recap of all of our chapters and kind of larger initiatives and the impact that our chapters have as a whole on CAI. So that will come out in late January. And so please share that with your boards. Feel free to share it with your members. Some of the information on there is just staggering about the number of events and education hours, the time we spend on Zoom together with internally and with our members. I think the last time I looked at it, it was close to 5.2 million minutes spent on Zoom across of CAI. And that's huge when you think about that. And so taking a look at some of those, again, we've got some advocacy pieces in there, but really the impact both locally that you're having and then also on that larger scale. So please, as we send you things, please feel free to share them as makes sense with your boards.
And as Kelly mentioned, continue to give us that feedback about what you like and what was helpful, because we're always looking at, what we can do a little bit differently. So continue to give us that feedback.
Emily, I have a question.
Sure, go
It's
ahead.
kind of open. Is there anything we should be prepared for in June for the big expo
Is there
event,
anything you should be
nationals?
prepared for, and
Uh-huh.
just in general for the conference?
Just for full disclosure for everyone else, it'll be my first time in the role of as president. So I am nervously excited about
Yeah.
that. Not excited about Florida heat.
No, being
As,
in
as we're
Florida,
here in Chicago with below 20 degrees and enjoying this frosty day, I'm like, Jesus, I don't know if I can handle the heat.
Yeah.
Maybe
it,
Yeah.
come to
it will
Palm
be hot.
Springs. You'll know heat if you come over here.
Yeah, we're supposed to be in the negatives this weekend, so definitely
I
we
think it's
would
gonna be like
probably like it better with you, Bruce.
Well, in my part of Florida today, we're in the 40s, so you want to be in my part. But that's a great question, Randy. So first of all, in preparation, if you have not registered for the annual conference, I would highly suggest you go ahead and register. One of the reasons is that when you register, you get the room block information, so you'll be able to book your room. So that's the first thing that's really important to make sure that you do. And then I can tell you what to expect, but what I'd like to do is ask the others to share kind of what to expect. So what you will do is we will have training on Wednesday afternoon is when the president-elect training will be. So you'll want to get there a little bit early, ready for
Well,
training.
president-elects. The presidents
Oh, so
won't
he's
be.
president. Okay, so he's
Yeah.
gonna be president. You
Yeah.
won't have to come to that. But we will have a chapter leader lounge open on Thursday and Friday where we'll be having different discussions on different topics. It'll be a time that you can come in there, get away from the big crowd, have conversations with other chapter leaders. And people have found it to be a really good time to just learn from each other and find out what other chapters are doing. So, Della, did you have something to add on expectations?
Not necessarily that. I will say that for the chapter elect training, you guys did a really awesome job on that. I was really impressed with how that was put together, and it was very informative. I was going to ask though, I'm going to be attending the law seminar coming up. Is there anything that you would recommend that I attend for that would be helpful in this role?
I'm not sure in this role. I have actually never been to the law seminar. But I mean, I would just connect with as many members as you can. Crystal, I know you've been. Is there any input you would have on that?
On the difference between, I'm
She
sorry.
was just saying in this role, is there anything that she should know about law seminar?
For law seminar, no, definitely not. There really is not a focus on the chapter component. It's really focused on the legal and insurance pieces. I agree with Emily. Just, connecting with as many people as possible. If you have a large contingent from your chapter, perhaps you meet up prior to a dinner or something like that, but nothing official by any means.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And that's what I was going to say also for conference, Randy, is some of the things that I found that other chapters like to do and the president and CED is get together with those members from your chapter who are there, take a picture, maybe save each other seats at general sessions, things like that. So really, work to connect with the people from your chapter as well.
So, Emily, Thank you for sharing that. For those who have not met me, I completely cannot stand pictures or cameras. So Cheryl's had to deal with the fact of I do not like attention. It's strange. And she's like, really? I was like, you will have to catch me at that right moment to take a picture, or else I will avoid every photo opportunity. I'm just like, no, no, it's weird. I don't like that type
So
of attention.
I'll tell Cheryl to tell you there's no picture. You
No,
just show
she
it.
she she forced me last time, but I'm like, you have to stop me and remind me. It's like we're gonna do this now at this time. So if you see me and you want to do it, trust me, I'm gonna need the reminder of you're doing this now. Get it.
Well, and I would verify too with Cheryl or any of you, the others. With your chapter awards, I know again, Illinois usually applies for several, and in the past they've been pretty successful at getting some. But that's usually a time when you, as president or president-elect, will come across the stage and accept those awards. So, again, that would be another responsibility to look at. And I know we do take some pictures with that. The award submissions are going to be opening shortly. So, if you have not submitted for awards, I highly encourage it. I think it's a great time to really showcase some of the successes you had this past year.
Kelly,
We look forward to it, Kelly.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Alana.
Our, thank you. Our president, um, who now she's not even no longer a member. She's gone to a different industry. And I didn't know that there were these submits that we could send in for the awards. Do we? Because I don't think I've ever received any email or anything like that. And I do not want those that should be acknowledged to miss out on it, or us just as a chapter, because we work so hard to continue to grow. Now that we are a mid-size chapter, that took a lot of hard work. So could you send that to me, please, so that I can make sure that we are sending it in a timely manner and
Yes,
getting those acknowledged?
I'll make sure you get that. I will be sending an
Thank
email
you.
to all of the CED's president and president-elects with all of the information so that you can start that process.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We will also be looking at submissions for CED of the Year and Rising Star as well. So if you would like to nominate your chapter executive director for one of those things, the Rising Star will be anyone who has been in the position 6 years or less, and the CED of the Year doesn't have a time constraint on it. So be thinking about that as well.
One other thing I would like to share in case you have not seen is we have finalized our keynote speaker for the annual conference. So we have sent that out. We're really excited. We've got some social media graphics and things if your chapter also wants to help share that. It's Mrs. Ali, it's Muhammad Ali's daughter. And we're really excited to have her coming and speaking with us. And so, again, we've started sharing that through social media and that presence. So if you want to jump on that, your CED does have access to some social media graphics around that as well.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. All right. Anything else on your mind that you'd like to talk about? All right. Well,
So there's just
I just
one
think,
last thing. Go ahead, Drew.
no, I was just going to say thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful year. This will be my last meeting. So I wish you all well and have success in your future chapters.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Drew.
Drew.
It will, and thank you for all of those chapter presidents who have been joining. Some of you all have been very faithful since you were a president-elect and continued. And so while this is your last meeting, maybe we can definitely stay connected. And I hope that you will really encourage the president and the president-elect in the future to attend this call, because we do, we put this together after COVID, and before that we found that we didn't have much connection with our chapter leaders. Really, the connection came through the chapter executive directors. And so we found this very valuable, and I hope you all have too. Crystal, you came off mute, and then
Yeah.
Kelly, I know you had one last thing.
Yeah, just to further on what Emily said, I think these calls have definitely opened our eyes to some challenges on the chapter leader side and how we can better support you. And in working with our executive directors, those are two slightly different tool paths. So it's been incredibly helpful for us. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for your comments and candid feedback and all of the service and time that you dedicate to your chapters. I know you may not always hear it, but it's definitely valuable, and we see what you're doing, and it's amazing work. So thank you.
Yeah. I just wanted to also share that and thank you for saying it so eloquently, Crystal. I also wanted to share something new that we are doing in a couple of weeks. The CAA offices are actually closing for the holidays. So starting on December 24th, I know we've sent this in the weekly, but starting December 24th through January 1st, our offices will technically be closed. Now, we will have some automatic emails, or all of us will have automatic emails coming out with how to connect if a person really needs to get information somewhere. And we will be having staff monitoring those email boxes throughout that holiday closure. But just wanted to share with you in case, again, any of you get feedback from it. If you do, please share with us. We'd love to hear it. We don't foresee any issues, but we won't know that until it is that time. But so we just wanted to share and just make sure that all of you were aware of that. Randy, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you say the 24th through the 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we would encourage you to encourage your chapter executive directors and staff to take a little time off as well. I'm sure that they're planning some of that, but be sure to encourage it as well.
You know, one thing that I'll just throw in there as an idea is that our chapters, our committees will meet in person in December, or we're having to push one to January. But that's something that's also kind of cool to really help create, just this connecting. And sometimes we're just doing a lot of our meetings on Zoom and stuff. So we used to be in person all the time and we're not anymore. So now we've decided to try to make at least one committee meeting be in person. Seems like that's going to be really helpful, and something that I think Central Oregon is going to do as well, is to adopt that all committees meet in person at least once a year. So thought I'd throw that idea out there.
Yeah. I love that, Sarah. In fact, I've been talking whenever I go do strategic planning or board training with some of these boards, we've been talking about engagement and how, we talk about engagement of members all the time, but engagement with each other, and engagement starts at the top with the board. And some of the boards have committed to having at least one quarterly meeting in person as the board too, because when they get together for strategic planning, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. We don't see each other outside of Zoom, and it just kind of builds excitement. So I love that you guys, that you're bringing that down to the committees as well. That's great.
Mhm. And this time of year can be great too, or something, like you said, if it's got to be pushed to a certain time, and really giving that space to celebrate your volunteers too. I think that's really important because, again, we all know you guys are all volunteers, and that stems down, and it goes a long way sometimes to say that thank you to them too. So just encourage you to thank your volunteers, whether it's this time of year, during any of the, National Volunteer Day or months or anything like that, but making sure that you continue to say that thank you to everyone around you that is putting in that hard work too.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, we're going to give you just a little bit of time back today. So happy holidays to everyone if we don't see you. We are here, as Kelly said, until the 24th. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy
See
holidays,
you later.
everyone.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yes.
Bye.
Does anyone, I know it probably matters how big or small you are, but are there any amounts that people could give as examples that they do?